the biggest moments, listen to Craig Stammen's post-game comments. Plus, we'll bring you today's play of the game. From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
0-2 on the way, and Merrill swings, muscles it in the air to deep right center field. Gilbert and Lee going back. They're going to watch. It's going to go. A long two-run homer for Jackson Merrill. Out to the beach in right center field, and the Padres have struck. It's 2-0.
Jackson Merrill set the tone, an early two-run home run. The Padres score 4 runs in the second, and they go on to win this game by a final score of 5-4. As they win this series finale against San Francisco, the Padres finish up a series win, 3 out of 4 against the Giants, and the Padres completing a 5-1 homestand. Padres have won 8 out of their last 9 games. Welcome into our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. A lot to do. We'll hear from Craig Stammen. We have all the radio highlights for you and much, much more. But first, I caught up with Jackson Merrill on the field just moments ago.
Jackson, 6 home runs since the All-Star break. What's allowing you to tap into your power in this second half?
Yeah, man, I'm just playing baseball. I'm having fun. I'm being aggressive in the box. Not trying to miss as many pitches as I have been. It's working.
You had a stolen base in this game, now 22 on the season. You talked in spring training about wanting to run more. You're doing that. What's been the key in getting your running game going?
Same thing as the dish, just be aggressive. Don't be afraid to steal bags. Don't be afraid to get thrown out. Everybody gets thrown out. So, be aggressive and see what happens after that.
You and I talked about the pitching staff earlier today. Once again, they found a way to string it together. Your thoughts on what the pitching staff did once again in this one?
Unreal, they're doing their job. They're keeping us in games. They let up a couple runs. It's all right. We're going to come back. We're going to fight. So, props to them.
Not many homegrown Padres on this team, but you're one. Adrian Morahone is another. He continues to be so amazing this season. What stands out to you about what Adrian does?
There's just the guy he is. He comes in every day and he does his stuff. He gets to work, gets after it every day, and he's ready to pitch every single day, and we appreciate that. He wants the ball. You want to give the ball to somebody that wants it.
Finally, you've won 8 of 9. This is a big series coming up in Arizona. How do you keep this momentum rolling?
Just keep fighting. Keep moving forward. Don't look at the future. Don't look at the past. Stay in the moment. Stay in that game.
Jackson, great job today. Thanks so much.
Thanks, bro.
Jackson Merrill joining us on our post-game coverage from down on the field. Jackson hitting his 16th home run of the season, stealing his 22nd base of the year, and the Padres behind another really nice pitching performance. They used 6 guys to get 27 outs in this one. Adrian Morahone picking up his 2nd save of the season. He was marvelous once again, and the Padres win this game 5-4. The Padres certainly have done their job, done their part. When you talk about the trade deadline looming at 3 p.m. tomorrow, by the time the Padres take the field tomorrow, we will know what this trade deadline has meant to the Padres one way or another. So going to be a very fascinating 24 hours, but the Padres put together a 5-1 homestand. They've won 8 out of 9, and they get a very nice win in this series finale today against the Giants. When we come back, we'll recap this game from start to finish. We'll hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen coming up a little bit later as well. Final score again on this beautiful Sunday at Petco Park. The Padres 5 and the Giants 4 on the Padres Radio Network. Padres winning by a final score of 5-4 on this Sunday afternoon at Petco Park as the Padres win 3 out of 4 from the Giants on a gorgeous weekend here in downtown San Diego. Sam Levitt with you on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. A lot to do. We'll have the full game recap for you in a second. Head back downstairs here from Padres manager Craig Stammen. As always, our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey player with a top 100 spa, an epic rooftop pool, and Lux Hotel Suites. Jamul Casino Resort is the mini vacay you need, the player's place. Now, the Padres, certainly in the lead up to the trade deadline, did their part. They've won 8 out of 9. They win this series against San Francisco, and now it's on to Arizona, the start of a big 4-game series against one of the teams the Padres are chasing right now. Diamondbacks, even though they lost today, they do still sit in a wild card spot, so make no mistake about it. Really big series coming up in Arizona in the month of August, and certainly going to be very interesting to see what the Padres do before 3 p.m. tomorrow, the trade deadline. To this point, it has been quiet, but if you know A.J. Preller, I would be willing to say pretty confidently it won't be quiet for long. We'll see how it all transpires by tomorrow at 3 p.m. But first things first, Padres had to play this game here today. They were going for a series win. Let's rewind this one, tell you how it went from start to finish.
Which moments determine the outcome of today's game? We'll paint you a picture with our game highlights on the Padres Radio Network.
Our starting pitching matchup today, Kyle Hart against Landon Roop. Remember, we only found out Kyle Hart was starting a couple hours before the game. Michael King pushed back to tomorrow in Arizona. So Hart got the ball in the top of the first inning. He tossed the scoreless opening frame. Landon Roop, the Giant right-hander, did the same in the bottom half of the inning. After Hart threw a scoreless top of the second, the Padres offense went to work against Roop in the bottom half. Ty France had a leadoff single. Jackson Merrill was next.
0-2 on the way, and Merrill swings, muscles it in the air to deep right center field. Gilbert and Lee going back. They're going to watch. It's going to go. A long 2-run homer for Jackson Merrill. Out to the beach in right center field, and the Padres have struck. It's 2-0.
So the 2-run home run for Jackson Merrill. Roop then got wild. He would walk 3 batters to load the bases later in that second inning. That set things up for Jake Cronenworth.
Cronenworth swings, hits it on the ground to the left side. Adames diving, has it, loses it. 2 runs are going to score. Adames just kind of slowly picked it up, and with the runners going, Sheets and Bogarts both come home, and it's 4-0.
So a 4-0 Padre lead, a 4 spot in the second for San Diego. They led 4-0 after 2. Hart went 3 scoreless innings in his start. J.P. Sears replaced him in the 4th inning. Sears got in trouble. The Giants loaded the bases on a single, a walk, a hit by pitch. Willie Adames dug in.
Adames swings, hits it hard on a line into left field. That's a base hit. Eldridge has scored. Devers will be held at third as the throw comes in from Rengifo.
Thank you.
RBI single, Willie Adames, and the Giants are on the board. It's 4-1.
Giants would get another run on a ground out. Padres still led 4-2. Griffin Canning came in for the top of the 5th inning. Padres leading 4-2. Oslevis Basabe led off for San Francisco.
And the 3-2 in the air to deep left center field. Rengifo and Merrill are back. Merrill at the wall, reaches up, makes the catch. Might have taken another home run away. No, he couldn't get it. Oh, Merrill had the glove over the wall, but he couldn't make the catch. And it is a home run for Basabe. 4-3 game.
I don't blame Jesse at all for thinking that Merrill made the catch. This entire ballpark thought he made the catch. In fact, it did, I think, momentarily get in his mitt, but it popped out, went over the wall, a home run for Basabe. This whole ballpark, 40,000 plus, also thought he made the catch. They reacted that way, but unfortunately he did not. Basabe with a solo home run, and it made it a 4-3 game. Padres still led 4-3. Going to the bottom half of the 5th inning, they mounted a 2-out rally. Ty France single, Jackson Merrill walked. That put 2 on base with 2 men away for Luis Campusano.
The 0-1 pitch, and Campusano hits it firmly the other way. Adames has to go off his glove, trickles into left. France rounding third, he's going to score. And the Padres have added on, it's 5-3.
So Luis Campusano, an RBI single. Canning pitched a scoreless 6th inning. Padres still led 5-3. Going to the 7th inning, right-hander Jeremiah Estrada came in. He worked around a leadoff walk in a scoreless inning. Bradley Rodriguez came on for the 8th inning. Padres still up by 2. Rodriguez got the first 2 outs, but then it was Rafael Devers.
Here's a 2-1. Devers swings, hits it in the air to deep left field. Rengifo's going back. He's at the wall. This one gonna go. Rafael Devers takes it out the other way. His 23rd home run of the season. And a 1-run game here in the 8th. It's 5-4.
Jung-Hoo Lee then hit a ground ball opposite a shifted infield. It went into left. Lee was able to turn it into a double. He went to third on a throw to second that got away. So all of a sudden, the Giants had the tying run on third base. 2 men away. Padres went to Adrian Morejon to face Willy Adames.
Morejon will kick and deliver, and a swing and a miss. Strike 3 as Adames goes down, and that will end the top of the 8th inning.
So Morejon getting out of the 8th inning. Padres still led by just a single run, 5-4 going to the 9th inning. Morejon staying on for what would become a 4-out save opportunity. He struck out Christian Koss for out number 1. He struck out pinch hitter Daniel Suzak for out number 2. He then hit Basabe with a pitch to put the tying run on base. The go-ahead run at the plate in Luis Arraez with the Giants down to their final out.
Oh, look at McCray. He runs. The 0-2 pitch. Arraez swings. Hits it in the air to left center field. Merrill going to track it down. He is there. He makes the catch, and the ball game is over. Adrian Morejon comes on to get 4 outs and close it out as the Padres take 3 out of 4 from the Giants, and they have won 8 out of their last 9. They will go into the trade deadline playing good baseball, winning baseball, and a 5-4 win over the Giants here this afternoon.
Padres improved to 58-54 with the win. They're 4 games above 500 for the first time in more than a month. The Giants dropped to 47-65. Final totals today for the Padres: 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. For San Francisco, 4 runs, 7 hits, and 2 errors. The winning pitcher today, Griffin Canning, he improves to 3-9. The losing pitcher, Landon Roop, who drops to 7-10, and the save goes to Adrian Morejon. What an outstanding couple of days Adrian Morejon put together in this series. Inning and a third scoreless, picks up his 2nd save of the season, a 4-out save, no less, for Adrian Morejon, and that was that here today in front of a crowd of nearly 44,000. The Padres win this series. They take 3 out of 4 from San Francisco, and as Jesse said, they have won 8 of 9 games heading into the trade deadline. So certainly the Padres have done their part heading into the deadline, and now we see what A.J. Preller and company will do in the next 24 hours, and should be very interesting. But the Padres getting it done at Petco Park once again here today. When we come back, we'll hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen. Again, the final score today, Padres 5 and the Giants 4 on the Padres Radio Network. Casino Resort Padres post-game show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres win this game by a final score of 5-4. Padres win 3 out of 4 from San Francisco. They have won 8 out of 9 games. They go 5-1 on this homestand against the Rockies and Giants. And as Jesse said in the final call that we played before the break, Padres playing good winning baseball heading into the trade deadline. They have certainly done their part after a rough start to that road trip to begin the second half, but they're playing good baseball right now. The offense continues to cook. Padres with 5 runs on 8 hits today, 3 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Padres getting 4 runs in the second against Landon Roop. They got a big run in the 5th inning, as it turned out, on the RBI single in the 5th inning by Luis Campusano ends up being the game-deciding run. Padres once again unexpectedly today, because we thought Michael King would start today, found out this morning he would not and get pushed back to Monday, tomorrow in Arizona. So instead, it was Kyle Hart starting the game. He went 3 scoreless innings. J.P. Sears gave up 2 runs in an inning. Griffin Canning gave up 1 in 2 innings. Estrada scoreless inning. Bradley Rodriguez did give up a home run to make it a 1-run game in the 8th inning. But then Adrian Morejon, who has been so good for so long now, he does it again. Like yesterday when he came in and put out the fire, man, oh man, Morejon does it again today. Comes in the 8th inning, strands the tying run on third base, and then goes back out, gets 3 outs in the 9th inning, and secures a 4-out save on a day where I'm sure the Padres wanted to stay away from Mason Miller, considering he threw a lot yesterday, and you've got a big series coming up against Arizona. But they go to Morejon for a 4-out save today, and he answers the bell once again, picking up his 2nd save of the season. Jackson Merrill, the early home run, the 2-run shot, 16th of the season. And I just saw this on Instagram. It was Jackson Merrill's his mom's birthday today. Jenny Merrill's birthday today, and I've met Jenny Merrill a handful of times, along with her husband Josh, Jackson's father. So good to hear it's Jenny's birthday today. So how about that? Jackson Merrill hit a home run on his mom's birthday. How cool is that? It's awesome. Happy birthday, Jenny Merrill. I've had the pleasure of seeing Josh and Jenny throughout the last few years here at the ballpark and in Arizona as well. So happy birthday to Mrs. Merrill and her son, her 23-year-old, hitting a home run for Mom today on her birthday. So that's pretty cool, in addition to a very nice Padres 5-4 win. Let's go downstairs, hear from Padre manager Craig Stammen after today's win.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres skipper Craig Stammen. Served up by Sinley Food. If you've had better chicken, you must be a rooster.
You guys went 5-1 on the homestand, won 3 in a row against the Giants. Does it feel like everything's kind of starting to come together at the right time for you guys?
Yeah, we're playing good right now. It's a good homestand. We finished the road trip up the right way, gave us some momentum, and then, we hung in there, against the Giants in a 4-game series and won 3 out of 4. It's always tough in the big leagues, and we finished it off right today in a tough game.
What do you like about the way that your team has played just over the course of this homestand that you would like to take into this next series against Arizona? You talk about momentum from the previous road trip.
I think, one, it's just complete baseball, offensively, defensively, and then with the pitching. It's kind of all come together at once. The pitching staff has continued to pick each other up throughout the whole course of the week. And the hitters have done their job too, being able to score early and give us a little bit of a cushion to use guys, how we would like to use them. So it's been a complete baseball, out of everybody in the clubhouse, everybody on the staff, and everybody in the front office. The whole organization. It's been really good last few weeks.
You had Kyle Hart as your opener today again. What do you like about him in that role?
Yeah, he started before, so he's comfortable coming, starting the game. And a lot of teams that we've faced here lately have a lot of lefties at the beginning of the lineup, and so he matches up well against them. And then he also has the ability to go more than 1 inning. Today, going 3, pushing him a little bit, but the ability to go down the lineup full time and then come back around and possibly get a few more guys out. So, a very valuable piece to our pen.
How kind of impressive, amazing is the lift that Adrian continues to give you?
Yeah. It is rather amazing, the workload that he's handling and the effectiveness that he has on the back end of that. I see it from afar. I lived it. And we have that commonality that we can talk about a little bit, where you're a well-used reliever and you still got to find a way to be effective. He's got much better stuff than I ever did, but we can share that common ground and we can talk through it. And hopefully I have a good idea of like when he does need a break and when I can push him a little bit.
Can you imagine not having him in your bullpen?
Cannot.
What did JP Sears give you today? Because that looked like that was just a guy out there trying to, after what he did just a few days ago, just trying to give you what he could.
Yes, there is a caveat with all of this, and that is some experimentation with how quick guys can recover and come back. Sometimes they say they can, and whether that's, I could throw, but will you be effective? And that's like we're trying to figure that out. And JP is a tough dude, and he can bounce back really quickly. And we've got to figure out what that optimal time of recovery is. I think today we kind of all saw that he was just a little not himself, not at his peak performance. And so we've got to be honest with each other. I've got to do a better job communicating and make sure I'm putting him in a situation where he can have success, not where he's just grinding through it just to survive. It's a little bit different. And these guys, you can throw every day, but it's a difference between throwing a bullpen out in the bullpen or pitching against, the middle of the Giants order.
That said, the fact that he did it.
Yeah.
He's
my player of the game because that inning was very important. And we had a 4-run lead, so we had the ability to use him and feel like we had some cushion. For him to get out of that inning with a bunch of traffic and still make pitches was probably the most impressive part of the day. Morahone coming back in the third again, also very impressive. But, a lot of kudos to JP for taking the ball and being willing to put his career on the line for the sake of the team.
What do you feel like the last 9 days, kind of, if it makes a statement to the front office, what is that statement ahead of the trade deadline?
I don't know. Not really about statements. We're just trying to play good baseball and win as many baseball games as we can. I think it's more of what we've been preaching before, handling the tough times, handling adversity, using adversity as a teacher and something that can make us better. And then believing that it's all going to turn around and that we will play better baseball and have more wins and get the results. And so we've just stuck to the process. And then we've seen the results eventually come. And we've been patient enough, although we've been waiting for a long time, to finally see, this type of winning streak a little later in the season than April.
Having been around AJ for a long time, what do you expect the next 24 hours to be like?
I expect him to not sleep, and I expect him to be on the phone a lot. Other than that, whatever comes out of that is up to AJ and the front office. But those guys put in, I would put them up against any other front office as far as hours put in, work ethic, and they're always preaching that to us. So, they put their money where their mouth is and give us a great example of what putting the team above themselves looks like.
Regarding Nick Pivetta and Joe Musgrove, how are they coming along, and what's your sense of the likelihood they're going to be able to help you go where you want to go this year?
Yeah, I think, they've got a few steps to master here before we think about them coming back to the big leagues. They've got a few rehab starts ahead of them. First one's going to start on Tuesday in Lake Elsinore. They get past that one. Then it's the bullpen afterwards, and then it's the next rehab game. So for them, it's all about recovery and how they handle each outing that is going to tax them a little bit more, and then how they recover from that.
And I know there's still a trade deadline, but you're done playing until the trade deadline goes past. Are you looking forward to nothing but baseball here down the stretch without all this trade stuff hovering over your head?
Yeah, it's not really hovering over my head. It's more of something that, is part of you guys' job to report on and make light of what could happen and what may not and speculate. You guys, the media, you guys are great people, but you will find something else to speculate about once the trade deadline's over. That is your job, and that is okay, and I'll be here for it, and we will keep doing this song and dance. Yeah, very speculative.
Don't be so sure, Craig. You were there when Adrian made his debut. Obviously, went through a lot of ups and downs. When you think about how far he's come, what stands out to you?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see. Honestly, it's just he handled a lot of tough times, and he always had the physical talent. And could he match it up with the work ethic and the mental toughness to be able to do what he did the last 2 days or this whole entire season, the last season? It makes me proud to have watched him come from that to what he is now and be one of the most valuable players on our team. And I think that's what we all envisioned. That's why we stuck with him for so long. That's why the organization kept giving him more chances and more chances and more chances, because he's just such a talented player. And I think, we're seeing the benefits of that, right now specifically and for the last couple of years.
You mentioned the early runs. How much does that help sticking with and executing this unorthodox kind of pitching chaos plan you guys are going with right now?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think that's maybe the biggest key of it. It allows these pitchers to not have to be perfect. And them coming back on early rest, they're not going to have their best stuff every time out. They're going to be fighting through some things. And so we've got to be able to give them, a little bit of leeway and a little bit of, cushion for them to work through those outings and give us enough innings to get through the game.
And then the decision to move Mike to tomorrow, is that purely, you're chasing the Diamondbacks right now in the wild card, so is that just a matchup kind of decision?
Yeah, part of it was like these guys have a lot of lefties. We wanted some lefties to pitch against them today. The other part was separating Walker and Michael so that they're not back-to-back, so we can spread this pitching out a little bit. And then the other part of it is, we're facing the Diamondbacks. We're chasing them. He's our best pitcher. It'd be nice to have our best pitcher pitching against them. He would miss them otherwise. And so, all those things together, plus, Randy Vasquez and German Marquez giving us a ton of innings over the last couple of days allowed us to save Kyle Hart, JP Sears, Griffin Canning for today, and then push Michael back a day. So a whole caveat of things, and that's what kind of this pitching thing will be. We'll be moving people around, to hopefully give us an advantage against whatever opponent we're playing.
That was Padres manager Craig Stammen following this 5-4 win for the Padres against the San Francisco Giants. Sam Levitt back with you inside the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. Our postgame coverage brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. The Players Place, a lot to chew on there with Craig Stammen. Let's get to a few items they went over. More housekeeping stuff here. Well, not housekeeping. That's not the right way to put it, but just some little bits of news here that came out during our pregame today and during the game. Joe Musgrove, Nick Pivetta, it sounds like we'll both pitch for Lake Elsinore on Tuesday, so that is very, very good news. Also pretty cool for those of you who want to maybe go up to the Diamond at Lake Elsinore and enjoy with Padres on the road. Enjoy Joe and Nick pitching up there on Tuesday. At least that's the way I understood it by what Craig just said and the way the Storm announced it on social media a little bit earlier. It sounds like both will pitch, which is interesting because you would think, starters, they'd want to go through their normal routine. But I guess they both will pitch on Tuesday in Lake Elsinore. And by the way, that's a morning game, 11:05 a.m. First pitch at Lake Elsinore. Who knows? Maybe I'll get up there on Tuesday. Interesting. Did not realize that till right now. Okay, anyway, Joe and Nick scheduled to pitch on Tuesday in Lake Elsinore. That is very, very good news. The other very good news is that the Padres are playing great baseball. They've won 8 out of 9, and I've said this a handful of times in the postgame already. Look, the Padres did their part. I know the road trip out of the break didn't get off to a good start. They were 2-5. It felt like the season, quite frankly, was on the brink. You were 2-5 on the trip. You were 4 games out of a playoff spot. You weren't playing good baseball. You were going to Miami. If that series in Miami had not gone well, you didn't have the momentum to carry you into this homestand, who knows what we're talking about right now with the trade deadline less than 24 hours away. Number one, who knows what the record is, and who knows what we're talking about from a trade perspective. Now, we're going to see. The Padres have not yet done anything. Most teams have not done anything yet, and we know with AJ that doesn't mean anything. We've seen AJ on the final day of the trade deadline time and time again, not swing 1 move, 2 moves, but swing a whole lot of moves as we get towards 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. So it is going to be a fascinating next 24 hours to see what the Padres do. But this team deserves a lot of credit for doing their part after the rough start to the road trip. They won 8 out of 9. They have beat up on some bad teams. Look, the Marlins were playing really poorly. They're playing better now, and they're in the mix in the wild card race. But at the time, remember, they had lost 9 in a row entering that series against the Padres. They took care of them. They go 5-1 on a homestand against 2 bad teams in the Rockies and Giants. The Padres did their part. They built some momentum. They went 8-1 in their final 9 games before the trade deadline. Now we see what happens, and look, this team deserves a lot of credit for what they've done, especially considering the way they've had to piece together this pitching staff. I mean, having essentially 2 starters, I thought the explanation from Craig Stammen as to why the Padres pushed Michael King back, thought it made a lot of sense. They wanted King to face Arizona. They wanted to split up Buehler and King. I thought it made a lot of sense, and, good for the Padres for making this work. Is it a strategy that is sustainable for the next 2 months? I don't know. I would kind of doubt that, to be honest with you, but, there's a very good chance that 24 hours from now, we're talking about the Padres having a piece or two, at least, from a pitching standpoint, that they did not have at this current moment. So you got through it today. You've got, you got a big performance from Hart. You strung it together, for them to finish this pre-trade deadline portion of the schedule the way they did, when you consider what their pitching staff has looked like lately and how they're having to do this, I think it's really impressive. Now, they did it against some bad teams, but it's really impressive. It really, really is. So they deserve a lot of credit for that. The offense is a big reason why this team is playing well. This offense has been a totally different unit since the flip of the calendar to July, even a little bit before that. But they have been so much more productive. Jackson Merrill has been so much better. Manny has been so much better. Ty France has been incredible. Fernando has been great. Luis Camposano has been really solid. List goes on and on and on. But again, I give this team a lot of credit for the way they finished the pre-trade deadline portion of the schedule. And, if you're A.J. Preller and you were looking to buy, and you were looking more so for a reason to buy, your team gave you reason. Now, what is it going to look like? We're going to see. I don't know what this deadline's going to bring. I thought it was, and I know Kevin Acee fairly well. I do think when Kevin asked Craig there during the post-game press conference, he asked him, essentially, could you imagine your bullpen without Adrian Morejon? I think it was a bit of a rhetorical question, but it did have a purpose. And I think that purpose was to say, hey, if there was a chance that Adrian was not on your team after tomorrow at 3 p.m., how would you feel about that? And look, there is reporting out there that teams are checking in on Morejon. Why wouldn't they, right? I mean, every team in baseball would want Adrian Morejon in their bullpen on their team. He's the best left-handed reliever in the game. I say that now with confidence with the way this guy is throwing and the way he's thrown for a while. Look, you never know what the trade deadline brings. It would be, from a bullpen standpoint, devastating to lose Morejon because he's so good. I guess you never know, and I assume that's kind of why the question was asked there. And look, we're going to see what the deadline brings. We're going to see how it all shakes out. But again, to me, the story of the day, the story heading into the deadline is the fact that the Padres took care of their business. The Padres did their part in finishing the month of July strong, in finishing this homestand strong, and now we see what AJ does, right? 8-1 in the last 9 before the trade deadline. We see what he does from here. Well, step aside. When we come back, we've talked a lot about Morejon. I want to dive a little bit more into something that was discussed there, and that is the journey and evolution of Adrian Morejon. I'm going to give you a little Morejon soliloquy, if you will, when we come back. We'll also get into the out-of-town scoreboard, and if you want to get a phone call in before we head out of here on this Sunday, 833-288-0973. Phone number to call, as always, 833-288-0973, the phone number to dial. Final score is the Padres win 3 out of 4 from the Giants, the Padres 5, and the Giants 4 on the Padres Radio Network. Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as we continue to wrap this one up. Final score today, Padres 5 and the Giants 4. We'll take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard in just a little bit, give you the up to the second wild card standings, get you ready for the series, big series, beginning tomorrow in Arizona, first of 4 between the Padres and the Diamondbacks, and we'll continue to break this one down. Phone number if you want to get a phone call in on this Sunday, 833-288-0973. Let's tell you about today's relief pitcher of the game.
Which pitcher entered the game and slammed the door shut? This is today's relief pitcher of the game, brought to you by San Diego criminal defense attorney David P. Shapiro. We help good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime. Learn more at davidpshapirolaw.com.
Today's relief pitcher of the game, who do you think? Who do you think? Adrian Morejon will be our relief pitcher of the game. More stellar work from Mr. Morejon. What else is new? Adrian comes in the 8th inning. The tying run on third base for the Giants. Strikes out Willie Adames to end the inning. Comes back out for the 9th inning. Ends up getting the first 2 batters of the inning. Hits the 3rd batter and then retires Luis Ariz to end the game. So, all in all, inning and a third scoreless for Morejon. Picks up his 2nd save of the year, a 4-out save to boot. And he, yesterday, was tremendous as well. Yesterday, if you remember, in what was another 1-run win for the Padres, a walk-off win, Morejon came in the 6th inning with a runner on third base. And at the time, it was, again, the tying run, much like today. Gets the final out of the 6th inning, comes back out, strikes out the side in the 7th inning, gets Eldridge, Lee, and Ramos in order, strikes out the side, 1, 2, 3 in the Giant lineup to end the inning. So Adrian Morejon in these 2 games to finish this series, 2 2/3 innings, no runs. He struck out 4 and gave up 1 hit. I mean, Adrian Morejon is so good. Is so valuable. You cannot, and it was talked about in the post-game press conference with Craig, you cannot overstate how important and how good Adrian Morejon has been for this team. And, it was talked about there a little bit in the post-game presser, and I think it's a good day to kind of bring it up and reflect a little bit. This was quite the journey for Adrian Morejon to this point. And I'll take you back even farther. I had Adrian on the Amarillo Sod Poodles in 2019. He was the opening day starter for Amarillo in Corpus Christi, 2019 AA Texas League season. In fact, Adrian Morejon, little fun fact for you out there, threw the first ever pitch in Amarillo Sod Poodle history. Yes, that's right. Of all the things Adrian's accomplished in his career, none compares to that honor, I'm sure. But, Adrian that year was pretty up and down. He dealt with injuries, and, ultimately Adrian would go on through the minor leagues and gets his opportunity in San Diego. He's a starter at points. He's a reliever at points. He goes through a lot of injury issue. It's up and down. The results are up and down. And I think it was fair to wonder a few years ago, what is Adrian Morejon ultimately going to be as a major leaguer? Is he ever going to, be the guy I think the Padres hoped he could be when they signed him for a lot of money out of Cuba? He was a big part of that, a big international signing class many years ago. And then he shows up in 2024, and he's stellar, a 2.83 ERA in 60 appearances. He shows up last year, he's even better, a 2.08 ERA, 75 appearances, and he earns his first All-Star nod in the National League. And this season, he's been equally as good. You're going to look at the ERA, you're going to see it's a touch higher at 3 now, but, that's because Adrian, had a couple of rough outings at the beginning of the year. Also got a little bit unlucky as far as runs given up in those outings, and it ballooned his ERA. I don't care about his ERA. If you've watched Adrian and the Padres, you know how good this guy is and how good he has been for this team. The point is, he has turned himself into, he has grown into the best left-handed reliever in the sport. He has turned himself into one of the best relievers, period, in the sport. Anybody, any team would take Adrian Morejon in their bullpen. And not only is it the effectiveness, it's the willingness to pitch a lot. It's the willingness to take on any situation. It's the willingness to go multiple innings all the time. You cannot overstate how good he's been, how important he's been, and how wonderful this has been to watch the journey of Adrian Morejon. When you consider his progression through the Padres system and as a major leaguer. You didn't know a handful of years ago really what Adrian was going to be and if he could ever get to something like this. Now, look, in fairness, back then, you probably viewed him more as a starter. That didn't end up being his destiny, but you know what? It worked out just fine because he found the role that suited him and he has dominated in it. So it's just a great story. It's a great story of development. It's a great story for the Padres organization. It's a great story of sticking with it, I think it's a good reminder that whether it be a pitcher or a position player, not every player just shows up in the major leagues and it all goes super smoothly right away. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes development. Sometimes it takes some trials and tribulations and injuries to ultimately get to what you're going to be. And Adrian has been a wonderful example of that, and I'm just happy for him. I am. And I told you I was going to give you a little more Morejon soliloquy. It felt like a good day to do it. I'm just happy for him. What he's turned himself into. This is really, really, really nice and incredibly impressive. And again, I think back to Adrian in 2019 at AA Amarillo, and I see him now, and I say that's pretty cool, what he's turned himself into. And one more thing, what I also really love about Adrian is you can see him brimming with confidence now. I mean, he's done that now for a few years, but you can just see in the way he carries himself. You can see it in the way he pitches, in the way he takes the mound. You can see it in his body language. He just brims with confidence, and there's no situation too big. There's no batter too dangerous at the plate. This guy never, ever, ever gets intimidated. Never, ever, ever gets intimidated. And it's admirable. It really, really is. So good for Adrian. It's my Morejon soliloquy for you on this Sunday. Well-deserved for Adrian Morejon, who picks up his second save of the year. Let's tell you about the Padres' heart of the order.
Let's take the pulse of the Padres and check in on the heart of the order. Presented by Palomar Health Medical Group.
Heart of the order here today. Manny Machado, Ty France, Jackson Merrill, 3-4-5 hitters. Manny 0 for 4 today with a couple of Ks. Quiet day for Manny. But Ty France, what else is new? He had 2 hits, 2 runs scored in this game, raises his average to 297. Jackson Merrill, 2 hits, including the 2-run home run as part of the 4-run second inning. That was another just good element of not just this game, but of this stretch leading up to the deadline. Whether you talk about Roop or Malley or Wisenhunt on Friday or Gabriel Hughes on Wednesday or Michael Lorenzen on Tuesday, you go down the list on this homestand, there were a lot of pitchers that you looked at them, you looked at their numbers, you looked at who they were, and you said, hey, the Padres should be able to do some damage against this guy. And during this homestand, they accomplished that time and time again. So really nice job of the Padres offense, no doubt about it. They got 2 starting pitchers in this homestand and starting pitchers that you felt like they should be able to hit. I mean, Robbie Ray was a little bit of a different story, but that's Robbie Ray. In team struggle with Robbie Ray. But the guys that you looked at and you said, they should be able to handle this guy, they did that throughout this homestand. So yet another feather in the Padres' cap during this 5-1 homestand. When we come back, full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, our play of the game. We'll replay my post-game conversation with Jackson Merrill, and I'll squeeze in a phone call or two. So if you're waiting on hold, just stay on hold. We'll squeeze in a couple of phone calls, hopefully, before we head out of here as well. Final score again, Padres 5, Giants 4. Our post-game coverage continues after this.
Keep it locked to the Jamul Casino Resort.
Padres win it 5-4 on this Sunday afternoon here in downtown San Diego. Sam Levitt with you on our Jamul Casino Resort Padres postgame show here on the Padres Radio Network. It is a Military Sunday here at Petco Park and on the Padres Radio Network. Military Sunday is always brought to you by our San Diego County Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Well, we'll dive back into today's game, wrap things up, get you ready for tomorrow's series opener in Arizona. Coming up in just a little bit, but right now let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We have one game going on right now. The Red Sox ahead of the Dodgers 5-3 in L.A. in the third. Everything else has gone final. Phillies beat the Orioles in 6 innings today. That was a rain-shortened game in Baltimore, but an official game. Phillies won it 8-0 against the Orioles. Braves beat the Nationals 4-2 in Atlanta. Cardinals beat the Blue Jays 5-1 in Toronto. The Guardians beat the Diamondbacks 5-0 in Cleveland. White Sox beat the Rays 9-1 in Tampa Bay. Marlins over the Mets 2-0 in New York. The Reds beat the Pirates 10-2 in Cincinnati. Astros over the Rangers 7-3 in Houston. Remember, the Astros will come to Petco Park on Friday. Yankees beat the Cubs at Wrigley 2-1. Rockies over the Royals 8-1 in Colorado. Angels beat the Brewers 3-0 in Anaheim. Tigers beat the A's 11-0 in Sacramento. Mariners beat the Twins 7-6 in Seattle. And that is a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. So what do the NL wildcard standings look like at the end of this weekend? They look like this. The Diamondbacks and the Phillies both sit at 59 and 53, so they hold the second and third spots in the NL wildcard. That means the Padres are a game behind both. So again, they're a game behind the D-backs and Phillies, who right now are tied for the second and third wild card spots, with the Padres on the outside looking in, a game out. Miami, game and a half out. Pittsburgh, 3.5 out. Cardinals, 4 out. Washington, all of a sudden now 4.5 out. So the Padres on the outside looking in, but they are knocking on the door as they head to Arizona. So obviously a very, very big series against the Diamondbacks beginning tomorrow. 4-game set at Chase Field in Arizona. We'll talk more about that in a second. I do want to point out, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, I just want you to have this in your head as we now get into August and post-trade deadline. Remember, now the Diamondbacks-Padres season series has not been decided. But remember, the Padres lost the season series to Phillies. So what that means, anytime you look at Philadelphia in these standings from a Padres standpoint, you got to remember they lose the tiebreaker. So they're essentially 2 games back right now because, again, you tie with them does no good at the end of the day. You've got to beat them. You've got to finish with a better record than them to get a wild card spot over them. So just keep that in mind as we go along here. Sometimes you can forget that, and it's too early even here on August 2nd to be really thinking about this stuff, but just so you know, I had this conversation earlier today with somebody. So just remember that will play a part in some of this depending on the team. All right, before we get to our play of the game, get you ready for tomorrow's game in Arizona. Let's squeeze in a phone call or two here. Let's go to Pacific Beach. It's Ben calling in. Ben, you're on the Padres Radio Network on this Sunday afternoon. Ben and PB, what you got?
Always a pleasure to be on the Jamul Casino Resort post-game show. Thank you, Sammy. I just wanted to talk about how this increase in offensive power has really opened up things for the Padres. I'm glad you talked about Morejon. It's so easy to overlook a bullpen that goes scoreless in a game where you're in a 2-run deficit. They're holding that deficit for you. Mm-hmm. But this offense has woken up. They're scoring runs, and they're putting them in a position to say, hey, we can go out. Maybe we can get a bullpen guy, 3.5, 3 ERA. You open up your options a lot more to say, okay, let's add some beef in the middle, but we don't have to sacrifice so much because our offense is carrying us through these games. So it's been just so nice to see him be able to lean on them, and it really lets the bullpen shine and do what they do to hold, the other team to 2 runs a run, and that'll be huge going on later down the stretch.
Yeah, Ben, good points all the way around. Appreciate the phone call. Look, there's no doubt. I'll give you two thoughts on it. Number one, you're totally right in that this is, and it's always been, this is a team because of the bullpen, and especially when the bullpen is fully healthy. Right now, they're not with no Adam. But when they're fully healthy and they're fully cooking and they're fully rocking, it is a team built to play from ahead. It is because of the bullpen, and they're doing that far more now. But also, the second point of this, to your call, yes, the Padres have figured it out, and they have managed to get through this and play some winning baseball while doing, all these pitching situations, right? With totally changing the strategy and the philosophy of what they're doing 3 out of every 5 days in their rotation. But make no mistake about it. This is what really has fueled the Padres playing better. And I don't have the updated numbers as of today, but I'll give you what they were entering today. Since July 1st, entering today, the Padres had put together a 779 OPS since July 1st. That came into today, ranking 3rd in the majors since the start of July. Keep in mind, before the start of July, the Padres had the 30th ranked OPS as a team in the majors. Dead last, 669 OPS. And after July 1, that has jumped up to 779, which ranks 3rd in the majors entering today. That number alone tells you all you need to know about the turnaround offensively. And you've seen it just individually. Merrill's played so much better. Manny's played so much better. Tatis has found more power and has continued to play super well. Rengifo has been a huge contributor. Ty France has been amazing. Campusano has been a contributor. The list goes on and on and on. This offense and their stars being stars and hitting for more power and slugging more, to me, that's been thing number one. To me, that is what really raises the potential ceiling of this team and of this season. Now, we've got a long way to go. The next 24 hours are going to be fascinating with the deadline and what they do and how they handle it and who they potentially add and what it means and all of it. It's going to be a fascinating lead up into tomorrow's game and into 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. But, the offense being more productive, Ben, to your point, it's meant a lot. It really, really has. And it's a big reason why, they are on a nice run right now and they've won 8 out of their last 9 games. All right, final score again today, Padres 5, Giants 4. Let's hear today's play of the game.
One bounce, one hit, one pitch can be the difference between victory and defeat. What was the most important play in today's game? This is today's play of the game. Presented by Bill Howe Plumbing, Heating and Air, Restoration and Flood. We know how.
Look at McCray. He runs the 0-2 pitch. A rise swings, hits it in the air to left center field. Merrill going to track it down. He is there. He makes the catch, and the ball game is over. Adrian Morejon comes on to get 4 outs and close it out.
Our play of the game, we go with the final out because we've talked a lot about Adrian Morejon. He completed a 4-out save, protected a 1-run lead. Yeah, we could have went with the Merrill home run, the Campusano single, but you know what? We made an executive decision. We said, you know what? Morejon, he was such a big story in this series, in these final couple of wins of this series. We'll give it to Morejon, our play of the game, the final out of today's game. Jackson Merrill did set the tone early. 2-run home run, part of a 4-run second inning. I caught up with Jackson Merrill on the field, right after today's win in this series win against San Francisco.
Jackson, 6 home runs since the All-Star break. What's allowing you to tap into your power in this second half?
Yeah, man, I'm just playing baseball. I'm having fun. I'm being aggressive in the box. Not trying to miss as many pitches as I have been. It's working.
You had a stolen base in this game, now 22 on the season. You talked in spring training about wanting to run more. You're doing that. What's been the key in getting your running game going?
Same thing as the dish, just be aggressive. Don't be afraid to steal bags. Don't be afraid to get thrown out. Everybody gets thrown out. So, be aggressive and see what happens after that.
You and I talked about the pitching staff earlier today. Once again, they found a way to string it together. Your thoughts on what the pitching staff did once again in this one?
Unreal, they're doing their job. They're keeping us in games. They let up a couple runs. It's all right. We're going to come back. We're going to fight. So, props to them.
Not many homegrown Padres on this team, but you're one. Adrian Morejon is another. he continues to be so amazing this season. What stands out to you about what Adrian does?
I mean, this the guy he is. You know, he comes in every day and he does his stuff. He gets to work. He gets after it every day. And, you know, he's ready to pitch every single day, and we appreciate that. He wants the ball. And, you know, you want to give the ball to somebody that wants it.
Finally, you've won 8 of 9. This is a big series coming up in Arizona. How do you keep this momentum rolling?
Just keep fighting, you know. Keep moving forward. Don't look at the future. Don't look at the past. Stay in the moment. Stay in that game.
Jackson, great job today. Thanks so much.
Thanks, bro.
All right, Jackson Merrill, some good life advice there as well. Stay in the moment. Couldn't we all benefit from that advice? Stay present. Stay in the moment. That's what I'm going to try to do this evening. And as we bring things into tomorrow, brand new week and a brand new series for your San Diego Padres. A big one against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Again, the Padres will enter that series one game out of a wild card spot. One of the teams they trail is Arizona. Game 1 of 4. First pitch tomorrow from Arizona at 6:40 p.m. Our pregame coverage will begin at 5:40. Pitching matchup tomorrow on the mound for the Padres, right-hander Michael King. On the mound for the D-backs, right-hander Brandon Pfaadt. And again, the trade deadline will have passed once tomorrow's game begins. 3 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow is the deadline. So we shall know more by the time we get to late tomorrow afternoon about what the Padres do, who's here, who isn't here, who's part of the organization, who's not. And we'll have a much clearer picture of what things look like for the rest of the season once the trade deadline passes tomorrow. So that's 3 p.m. And again, our pregame coverage begins at 5:40 tomorrow here on the Padres Radio Network. As always, if you missed any portion of our postgame show, you can go back and listen to all of it on the Inside San Diego Baseball podcast, available on the free Odyssey app or wherever you find your podcasts. And of course, our postgame coverage has been brought to you by Jamul Casino Resort. Hey player, the rooftop pool's open, day passes are available, and the spa is calling your name. Jamul Casino Resort, the player's place. A look at the final totals in this one here today for the Padres. 5 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. They left on 9. For the Giants, 4 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors. They left on 6. Winning pitcher today, Griffin Canning, who improves to 3-9. Losing pitcher, Landon Roop, who drops to 7-10. And the save goes to Adrian Morahone, his second save of the season. Time of game, 2 hours and 59 minutes. And the crowd at Petco Park today in San Diego, the 44th sellout of 2026. Another tremendous crowd on a gorgeous Sunday afternoon. 43,856 in the building. Once again, first pitch tomorrow at 6:40. Pregame coverage begins at 5:40. Until then, for our great studio coordinator, Kyle Ovenshire, I'm Sam Levitt saying so long from Petco Park. Again, the final score here today, the San Diego Padres 5 and the San Francisco Giants 4. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the Padres Radio Network. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Bye, everybody.